Quasi here, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can overcome your subconscious programming, get to a point where you consciously program your subconscious, but even more than that, become a conscious creator of your own life. Before I begin this video, I wanted to quickly announce that I'm doing a free giveaway of my book, Life Mastery. So tomorrow, every single Friday, we'll be announcing one lucky winner to win this book for completely free in the ebook format. If you want a chance to win, just comment Life Mastery down below and we'll be picking one lucky winner. Also, I'm super excited to announce the free one-to-one consult for the Reality Mastery program is open. So wait till the end of the video for the announcement on that. And with that, let's get started with this video. Now, today I want to talk to you about overcoming subconscious programming. And I saw that, this one thing that when I started implementing a reasoning process and started to really think for myself, my life completely changed, right? I started to get results that were unconventional. And really what you got to know is in order to get unconventional results, you must be unconventional and do unconventional things, okay? Really stop and think about that. Because how this paradigm of reality creation works is that you must first be, and this doingness must come from the beingness, and then the havingness automatically follows. Be, do, have, in that order. Most people are focused on having. Oh, what can I take? When I visualize this, will I get this? Will I get that lottery win? Will I get that parking space? And they always get little incremental changes in their lives. But really, anything, if someone makes a change in the world, it's not as a result of what you've achieved. It's not a result of what you do. It's all a result of who you've become. And this beingness consolidates all of that havingness and the doingness. Those are all part of who you truly are. So with that being said, in order to get unconventional results in your life, you must be and do unconventional things. That's the only way, right? Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting the results you've been getting. If you keep doing what other people have been doing, what the conventional way to go about it is, you're going to keep getting results other people have been getting too. So what happens with most people is that we are such innocent creatures, right? At a very young age, we're just conditioned. From 0 to 4, 0 to 4 years of age, we're at this state of mind called the theta state. And in this theta state, we are like a sponge, and we literally soak every information around us. We look at our parents, and they set the standards for us, and then we see that, oh, this is how we should behave. This is how one should behave. And then our parents tell us, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. And that's what we start to really think, because we're an empty, clean slate, but we just get programmed by our environment, right? With that being said, as we grow up, we see more and more of what's the right thing to do, what the wrong thing to do is, and we start thinking about, oh, what are other people going to think of us? Because, evolutionarily, we've been programmed in such a way that if we don't do what other people are doing, we might get kicked out of the tribe. And if we get kicked out of the tribe, then we're going to starve to death. But it really isn't like this anymore, right? So we get sucked into societal pendulums. If you don't know what a pendulum is, click up here to check it out. But essentially, pendulum is a concept from reality transurfing. And really, it explains why we do like-minded things and why we're so herd-minded. Because a pendulum literally sucks our energy. Whenever we're unconscious, that's when we're subject to pendulums. So a pendulum is an energy structure that feeds off the collective like-minded thinking. A group of people, a sports team, a business group, a religious group, a spiritual group, these are all examples of pendulums. Society itself is a big pendulum. Now, a pendulum isn't always a bad thing. There are destructive pendulums and constructive pendulums. Destructive pendulums are the ones that take your energy and don't get you towards your goals. Constructive pendulums are the ones that take your energy and help you get to your goals. Okay, so you must be mindful of which pendulum you're giving your energy off to. Now, with that being said, when we get sucked into these societal pendulums, 99% of the time, societal pendulums are good, but that 1% of the time it's bad. It really stretches out to that 99%. So really, you might as well say 99% of the time it is bad, because it prevents you from doing what you truly love to do, your heart's desires. So it's almost like you're imprisoned, okay? You're going through society, you're following these set of rules, and you're doing a 9 to 5 and you're not doing what you love, you're sacrificing your dreams to do something that was programmed in you to do, right? Instead of waking up excited to do something every single day. And that's because we've been so conditioned to stick to these pendulums, and the fear has been put in us that if we don't adhere to these pendulums, then bad things are going to happen. So we have this false sense of security, such as with a 9 to 5. Oh, if I don't get my weekly paycheck, I'm fucked. I'm just going to get destroyed and all these debts are going to pile up, blah, blah, blah. But really, most of these fears are irrational, because if you truly set your mind to it, you would be able to find a way around it. But it's just that you get too unconscious. You're lazy. You just don't want to find another way. So, this is the safe route. I just want to stick to this. This is good. This is good. No, I have a secure job. But really, this is a false sense of security that the pendulum has you think. Okay, so be very, very wary of that. And the other problem is that when you get sucked and drawn into these societal pendulums, it completely stunts the reasoning process that you get accustomed to. It stunts your own progress that you want to take in your life. Let's say towards financial freedom, towards achieving your dreams and your goals. So you just get stuck to these pendulums and you can't break free. It's the invisible prison cell. So the only cure to getting free, breaking free of these pendulums, breaking free from your own subconscious programming, is to get conscious and learn to think for yourself, as I mentioned before. If you don't think for yourself, someone else will do your thinking for you. As we're growing up, we start to depend on our parents to think for us. As we're growing up, we depend on our teachers and our professors to think for us. As we grow up, we have other people to think for us and do this for us, do that for us. So we really become handicapped in a certain way. These handicaps are handicaps to our consciousness. So anything that you rely on is a handicap to your consciousness. If you rely on your teacher to give you this solution to a problem, when you could really just take an extra bit and think about it yourself, think about the solution yourself, but you just don't want to waste that brain power when you could have had the solution yourself. I remember this. When I was in school, I would just try to copy off the solution of someone else and just be like, no, I don't want to think right now. My brain is it's too muddled up. I just don't want to think right now. I just want to relax. And after a hard day of work, this is what happens. And this happens because these pendulums throughout the day, they're taking your energy. So it leaves you naturally more and more unconscious. So when you're biologically not satisfied, naturally you become more unconscious. Really think about that. If you're not well slept, if you're not well fed, if you've been doing something that's been too taxing and just mentally been too engaging, then you just get exhausted. For some reason, when we do something like a 9 to 5, 5 days of the week, we come back after work, we just get absolutely exhausted. And why is that? That's because these pendulums are drawing your energy. And it's not like you've achieved something that you would want to achieve with this 9 to 5, but rather you're just doing something and going through the motions. If you enjoyed your 9 to 5, that would be fantastic. But if you don't, then that's a problem, right? Because now you don't get to choose your own hours and you don't get to do really something that frees you, but rather something that entraps you, encapsulates you, and not make that bigger impact that you want for your life. And really that's what my personal experience was in working that internship, and that's why I chose to do what I do. And it wasn't an easy path getting to here, that's for sure, but really a lot of the difficulties were in overcoming your own self, which is the craziest thing. The only thing blocking you from getting to your goals is yourself. Right? There isn't an invisible force that's just keeping you stuck here. Even these pendulums that you give your energy off to, if you just became a little bit more conscious, you would be able to overcome them. Right? But that's the problem. Consciousness is what's missing because we've been accustomed to this handicap. We've been conditioned to just rely on this, rely on that, rely on the paycheck, rely on this. That's just how we've been made. And if you learn to think for yourself and upgrade your reasoning process, like I said, the reasoning process is what's keeping us held back into where we are right now. If you learn to upgrade your reasoning process, you'll automatically become this unconventional results getter, right? Pendulums can't have a hold on you if you think for yourself. This is the second law of pendulums. It's the do as I do rule. It's that anytime someone tries to break free from the pendulum, it will try its best to restabilize the structure. So to give you an example, if you look at a school of fish, when it's swimming in this school, if you interrupt one fish, the whole structure stabilizes itself and restructures itself. An ant army, if you move one ant, the whole structure will restabilize and restructure itself. Okay, this is also how these societal pendulums work. If someone is trying to break free from this pendulum, so if you look at this kid who's trying to be unique, and there's always going to be a bully that comes in and says, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Do what we're doing. You know, this is what the cool kids do. You should wear a leather jacket and grease up your hair and then come into school like this and do this, do that, right? But the kid wants to embrace his own uniqueness, his individuality. But the pendulum has other ideas. The pendulum wants to make you an adherent so it can get your energy. So it bullies you. But if you're weak enough and you fall unconscious and don't see what's going on, you're going to come back to this pendulum instead of separating out, going your own path, right? So this is why most people get so easily drawn into these pendulums. Now, the key, okay, the absolute key is to approach everything with neutrality, right? Because what's really happening is you have a certain subconscious programming, so you're not even able to see what's right and what's wrong. There is no clarity there. So the only thing you can do is approach things with complete neutrality. Whenever someone presents an idea to you, instead of scoffing at it, instead of jumping into it, you approach it with neutrality. You give it a pause and you really think about it. Is this something you want to do? You don't get into overthinking. You're like, oh no, do I really want to do this? But rather an appropriate pause before you react. Become conscious. Make sure your reaction is not a reaction, but rather a response. Is this what you consciously need to do in your life right now? Is this what you consciously want to do in your life right now? Really think about that. Right? So approach everything with neutrality. And the second part is upgrade your reasoning process. Now, if you don't upgrade your reasoning process, you're never going to be able to break free from these pendulums. Right? Because now what's really happening is your reasoning process, our reasoning process has been molded into reasoning through what's known as analogy. Okay, so this is how the pendulums have built us up. This is how we've been conditioned. We look at other people for proof of how we should feel. We look at external reality for proof of how we should feel within. This is absolutely crazy because anything you're seeing outside right now is all a result of thoughts and attitudes you've had of the past. So you just keep reliving the past over and over and Groundhog Day keeps happening. So our reasoning processes are not even ours. It's dependent on external things. It's not coming internally. So how we reason right now is what's known as reasoning through analogy. What this means is whenever we make a decision, whenever we come to a conclusion, before we come to the conclusion, we look at how things have been done in the past, how trends have been, what the common belief is, what the herd mentality and the herd thinking is. Right? I'm going to give you examples of that in a second, but I'm just going to define it right now. This is what reasoning through analogy is. You make an analogy to something else that's already in existence right now. It's ineffective. Reasoning through first principles is what we want to upgrade to. This is the tool of billionaires, okay? If you study the lives of billionaires, the one thing they all have in common is that they think for themselves. They don't let anything else think for them. They have clarity on their dreams and visions. When you have clarity on what it is you want, you begin to think for yourself, right? So really what you want to get to is reasoning via first principles. And reasoning via first principles is boiling everything down to its fundamental truths. This is thinking like a scientist. You break everything down to its core values, core principles, core truths. And then you build up from there. If A is true, then B is true. B is true, then C is true. If C is true, then D is true. So this analogical part goes away. Right? So now I want to give you some examples of reasoning via first principles and reasoning via analogy to really make sense of this. And this was something that was key to me in my personal growth. So this is something I'm really passionate about. I know this is something that's going to help you completely transform your life. Because right now when I talk to people, when I talk to my clients, the biggest problem is people are getting drawn into this, I should be like they are. You know, if I'm not, then shit, it's going to be a problem. This false sense of security. The pendulum has really gotten a hold on them. Their subconscious programming has really been ingrained in them. So here are some examples of reasoning via analogy and reasoning via first principles. So first of all, what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to give you a premise. And from the premise, we're going to go down to a reasoning process. And from the reasoning process, we're going to go down to a conclusion. So let's get started. If you can see this, that's great. If not, not a problem, because I'm going to be speaking anyways. But first of all, let's go with reasoning via analogy. Our premise is 9 to 5s are the only way to have, money in your life and be successful. 9 to 5s are the only way. You must work up to being a CEO, get the highest level promotion, blah, blah, blah. This is something I used to believe because other people would tell me this. And reasoning via analogy says that, 9 to 5s are the only way because everyone says so. And, in order to do something different, do something extraordinary, you have to be gifted. Look at these people. They're all gifted. And from that reasoning, the conclusion is, 9 to 5s are the only way. So this is what reasoning via analogy says. Now, if we go to reasoning via first principles, premise, 9 to 5s are the only way. Reasoning, when I'm doing a 9 to 5, I'm trading my time for money. But if I were to solve a painful problem or provide a similar service that actually benefits someone and don't charge based on my time, but rather charge appropriately based on the results I'm getting people and scale it up, then I could easily turn this into a business, right? So, if you do a coaching program and you help someone get a particular result at the end of X amount of weeks or at the end of X amount of months, and then you charge appropriately based on what the result is worth to them, and you find a similar amount of people who are also with the same need, and you scale it up, then you could easily turn into a business, right? So even more than that, if you provide entertainment, it doesn't have to be solving a painful problem, but rather something people would really want in their lives, something that people would pay for, something that people see the value in. If I provide a valuable service, people will pay me. If people pay me, then I don't have to trade my time for money necessarily, right? So in that case, I could run a business. I don't have to be especially gifted or, do anything extraordinary to run my own business. Right? Anyone could run a business. So the conclusion is 9 to 5s are not necessarily the only way. There are other ways too. So this is one example. Now, the second example I want to give you, premise, is mindset courses are all scams and law of attraction courses are all bullshit. Quasi is a big scammer. And reasoning via analogy says that, there are free videos online, there are free books that you can find, and there's free knowledge. And, my friend Bob, he bought a course and, it was $197 and he didn't get the results that he wanted from it. So the conclusion is they're all scams. You can just easily find this stuff online. They're just all scams. Reasoning via first principles, same premise. Mindset and law of attraction courses are scams. Quasi's a scam artist. The reasoning is, if we boil it down to the truths, you can find sand, gravel, dust, and raw materials in the earth. And it's the combination of it, the arrangement of it, the presentation of it that makes the difference between a hamburger and an iPhone and a rocket ship, right? So really, not all law of attraction courses or mindset courses are necessarily scams. Maybe some of them are scams, but they're not necessarily scams, right? So this goes to show that if you boil things down to the truth, you get to the conclusion that they're not necessarily the only way. This is always getting to a neutral point. So this is a sort of inquisitiveness that you have in you to explore something. This is what billionaires do. Right? They never form an opinion based on analogy, based on common trend, common belief, but rather they're always open to exploring. So this is the kind of state you want to get to within yourself. Right? So this is the kind of reasoning process that helps you break free from this pendulum thinking, because you don't really know what's true and what's not true until you've tested it out yourself. So with that, I conclude this video and I sincerely hope this helped. And just to recap, the problem is we've been subconsciously programmed to go more and more towards pendulums and, really go a particular way where we are just trying to be safe. We're just trying to protect ourselves. We're going to more and more safety and we're afraid to take risks, right? But if you want to get unconventional results, you got to do unconventional things and you got to be unconventional. It's as simple as that. Most people are sucked into societal pendulums, and these are energetic structures that take collective like-minded energy, and they can be destructive or constructive, right? There are business groups who are constructive and help you get to a particular goal in your life, which is great. But then there are destructive pendulums which take your energy, move you away from your goals. The cure is to really get conscious. The only solution to pendulums is more and more consciousness. And learn to think for yourself. And the only way to do that is to upgrade your reasoning process and reason via first principles rather than analogy. And I gave you the two examples of reasoning via first principles and reasoning via analogy. So with that, I conclude this video, and I sincerely hope this helped, and I hope you'll begin reasoning and start thinking like a billionaire, really starting to boil things down and start to see things with crystal clarity rather than have your judgments, have your opinions cloud this thing that's inherently neutral, right? So thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of this video, if you liked it, if this was beneficial for you. This was something that changed my life and was very, very beneficial for me personally. That's why I'm sharing it with you. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. And I'm super excited to announce, as I mentioned before, that the free one-to-one consult for the Reality Mastery Program is open. So if you want to sign up, make sure you click on the link in the description below. And what we do in this consult is see if whether it would be a good fit to work together in the program and really see if you would benefit from this system that's helped me and countless other people transform their lives. Right? So the Reality Mastery Program is essentially based on the most powerful paradigm of manifestation, the being paradigm, the becoming paradigm. And really I saw that in my personal life, I could systematically manifest transformational changes, all as a result of not what I did, not what I wanted to have, but rather who I became. All right, so when I became the attractive version of myself, I attracted my dream partner into my life. When I became the fit, athletic version of myself, I got my dream body. When I became the entrepreneur version of myself, I started making the money that I wanted and broke free from my 9-to-5 and got to financial freedom. I know all of these things are possible for you as well, because we're helping our clients do this in their lives every single day. So if you want to sign up for the free consult, make sure you click on the link in the description below, and I'll see you there. Also, make sure you join our Facebook group to connect with like-minded people, a constructive pendulum, and to really benefit from this collective energy field. Right? So click on the link in the description below. This is a group where we share advanced techniques and principles to really help you accelerate your manifestation. So I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Peace.